Hello, fellow towel gangers and people of Earth. This is me, David J.P. Phillips again, and I am here with you today in the form of a scientist. I have my electroencephalograph on my brain, registering any inputs that I may have, and by so being able to analyze this next speaker. I have my cloak, which is my lab coat. We're taking that off. Today we will be focusing on one of the most asked for and recommended speakers out there. This is your request, and it's nobody less than
Jordan B. Peterson.
And for you who do not know who this is, this man's name is Jordan B. Peterson. He's a clinical psychologist and a professor in psychology at the University of Toronto, and he is a world-class public speaker, keynote speaker. You should know who he is. And there is a particular reason why you love him. And I know why. Because this guy is so skilled that he is able to launch the skills of 7, 8, 19, 17, 39, 40, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 51 and 61 in just a mere period of 90 seconds. i.e. he's launching around 20 difficult skills in such a short period of time, mesmerizing your brain, almost magnetizing your neurons, wanting and desiring to learn more, because there's no obstacle. Before we commence, I'd like to thank you for your amazing support. We are close to 97,000 subscribers now. Towel Gang, status update, Discord channel and subreddit, they're all happening, and we will be launching them live when we hit that 100k mark. So I hope that you're ready for that. That'll be awesome for us all to communicate and have fun together. Now, it is time for the drum roll. The towel is coming off. Ooh. And behind it, we have Jordan. Let's have a look at the magic he does.
Part of the reason that women are doing better is because they're agreeable. And so if a system sets out a structure and says, here's a pathway to attainment, the women won't rebel against that, they'll go along with it. And that's working very well for them at the moment. The men, especially the men on the disagreeable end of the distribution, and there's way more men on the disagreeable end of the distribution than there are women, right? That's what you get from... I think that part of the reason that women...
When as a professional public speaker and coach, when you look at what he does with his gestures, you're just, oh, this is poetry, man. I love you. It is, truly is. It's like, if you're an artist and you look at a painting, which is beautiful painting, you'll probably feel that differently from someone who doesn't know what requires to paint that painting. And the same thing goes here. So, let me break down the gestures for you. Have a look at this.
They're doing better is because they're agreeable. And so if a system sets out a structure...
If a system sets up a structure, that is what is called a distinct gesture showing 3 different options.
And says, here's a pathway to attainment.
Did you see that? Now he increased the pace of the gesture. That means that he's got a fairly good base pace. He's going at a fairly good base pace to begin with, and then suddenly he increases pace. And as soon as he does that contrast shift, boom, your brain refocuses. Carry on looking.
To attainment. The women won't rebel against that, they'll go along with it, and that's working very well for them at the moment. The men, especially the men on the disagreeable...
Now you see that is not a distinct gesture. This is a sloppy gesture. But that is showing that something is moving in this direction, and now he goes over to a distinct gesture again.
Disagreeable end of the distribution. And there's way more men on the disagreeable end of the distribution than there are women, right? That's what you get.
Okay, so he launches 4 different ways. He's using gestures in just a mere 22 seconds. What you can learn from this is when you do gestures, when you do distinct gestures, you will be perceived as having a higher credibility and higher confidence. So for instance, if I would give you an example that goes like this. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4, number 5, you can all come. Or you go, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, you can all come. The second one will have a higher credibility than the first one. So have a look at your gestures when you speak with your hands. See to that you make them distinct to increase confidence and credibility. Now, this guy moves over to the whiteboard to enhance what he's saying even more.
If you look at overlapping normal distributions, so there's the male disagreeable end.
Look how he almost runs there. Look at this.
Disagreeable end of the distribution than there are women, right? That's what you get from...
He's so excited. He's like, I've got to show you this. Come on. This. Have a look at this. That excitement excites your mirror neurons. And of course, you want to listen to somebody who's excited about their subject compared to somebody who's not excited about their subject. And what I absolutely adore with this man, what I adore is that I've heard that he doesn't give 2 talks which are the same, which means that he doesn't have a manuscript, which means that he's creating everything in real time in his brain, and that in its turn means that he is so close to his emotions. And that is what you want to see, that's what you want to hear. Emotion kicks ass.
Male distribution for agreeableness. Tremendous overlap. Okay, women are higher. All the really agreeable people are women. All the really disagreeable people are men.
All the great and all. That's a volume increase. Every time I increase my volume, your attention increases. He knows that. And it is so beautifully executed, because when you stand by a blackboard or whiteboard and you draw in this manner, you need to increase volume in order to increase attention, because you've just lost your facial expressions. Oh my God.
And maybe the real differences occur at the extremes.
Now he's pointing with one finger. Look how he shifts that.
So and it's a very interesting.
To his entire hand, which is a different way of pointing.
Of overlapping distributions. So people can be mostly the same, but that can still produce radical differences.
I love this. Just listen to how he now goes from high energy to low energy.
Well, men won't do anything they don't want to do. They just say, up yours. I'll go home and play video games. Are you with you? I'm not listening to your stupid classes. And why should I work for you?
The poetry of that, because when you have a person who's really excited and highly energetic, that is super awesome to be for a certain period of time, but you get tired of it if a person is in your face all the time. A good public speaker, a good YouTuber, knows the contrast is core, slows down his pace, he reduces the volume. Not only that, but he uses the subtle and beautiful trick of sitting down on his desk. Why is that a subtle, beautiful trick? It goes like this. I can't really show you because it's in front of camera, but you have to imagine. If I am eye height, looking over my audience, I'm standing up. That means that I am in command. You listen to me. I am in command. And everybody understands that. As soon as I sit down and I just go eye height, it's absolutely eye height with my audience, it means that we now share a common room. If I say things, it feels more friendly, it feels more like you have the ability to talk to me. Optionally, you go down and you sit below them and you look up at them. This means that you've now given control to them and they feel so at ease at anything that you're saying to them. In his case, he does a middle thing, he sits down on his desk, calms down, gives you that eye contact. And all this, even if you can't see it today, when you start studying this more and more, this is music to the brain. The way he is so synchronized in his movement, his voice, his words, his gestures, his facial expressions.
I'll just go have fun. I'll do my own thing. I don't think they're motivated. And so then if you take the men who are like that and you say, okay, what do you want? You can have what you want, but you have to figure out what it is.
You remember PewDiePie, role play, and using his voice. What do you want? What do you need? You can see it in his facial expression. You can hear it in his voice, in his words. He moves into another person, and that again creates engagement in your brain.
What it is. So then they write down what they want. And they think, oh, hey, well, that might be worth having. So maybe.
I want you to imagine. This is an ordinary class. This guy is teaching a class. The purpose wasn't here to be brilliant and earn loads of money or stand in front of thousands, mesmerizing them. I don't know, if it's 20, 30, 40, 50 people. He is so engaged and so good. God.
They'll put some effort into it. That's what it looks like to me. Now, that's weak evidence.
Do you hear that again? Stands up, increases pace, increases volume. Don't know why he's got a little tick here of fiddling with his ring, but it goes.
And this is a weak argument, but I'm trying to...
Usually when you fiddle and you have tics like that, it means that you're nervous. But there is not one single thing that he shows that he's nervous here. So it's probably just a tick that he does when he sits up or when he's going to change mood or something like that.
Stretch out my understanding to account for this, but I'll tell you something
Functional
else
gesture,
really weird.
pointing.
I don't understand this either.
I don't understand this either. Which means that he puts himself on the same level as you. Of course, that's a likability factor. Brilliant. It's almost taken off his ring now.
More than 90% of the people who watch my videos on YouTube are men. Now that's weird because about 80% of psychology students are women. So that is not what you would expect, right? You would expect that the majority of them would be women. And you might say, well, it's because of the political stance I've taken. And I thought, well, that's possible.
Yeah, well, that's possible. If I want to show you 4 super subtle tricks when it comes to public speaking. It's probably the 4 most subtle ones in the entire 110 steps model. And they go like this. All right. Did you catch them? Because that was just those 4. So what did I do? Well, I did what he did. He looked up to simulate that he's thinking. I did an audible inhale, which increases your anticipation of what I'm saying. I did a self-laughter, which increases your anticipation of that it's going to be funny, whatever I'm going to say. And then I did the chain smile, which induces endorphins into your brain, putting you into a better positive state. Just 4 things. Rewind the YouTube video and have a look at them again and see if you can spot them. Let's have a look at how he used it.
Majority of them would be women. And you might say, well, it's because of the political stance I've taken. And I thought, well, that's possible.
Well, that's possible. Looks up, increases register, keeps fiddling with his ring. Hey, he's not perfect, but he is damn good. And the reason why you enjoy listening to him is because his eloquent vocabulary, his beautiful way of putting the words in the right order. I think connecting this to science, really putting a foundation into what he's saying. His conviction, his emotion, him really believing in whatever he's doing. So if you do reaction videos, if you're on YouTube, if you're on stage, remembering your manuscript is far, 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 far from your success. It is being there emotionally with your subject, wanting to transfer it to your audience like your life depended on it. Like I feel for you, I know that if I can get this skill, these bits across to you in a sensible manner where you understand, my God, this can change my life. Of course, I want to devote my time here with you in the greatest way possible. Something I would find and my team would find really, really interesting is what you find interesting. Do you want me to analyze more professional public speakers like Jordan, or YouTubers, or maybe Hollywood stars or pop stars? Who would you like me to analyze? What kind of category? But let's have a look at these first 2. YouTubers or professional public speakers. Which one is your choice? And finally, I would say that the synchronization between the 5 layers that I've spoken before in the other videos, facial expression, gestures, voice, word, and body language, are all synchronizing in a beautiful way for this man. Yeah, he's just a mad high scorer. You can learn so much from this. So see to that you replay this video over and again. Try and practice these in real life. That would be all from me.
I know